Hey guys, it's Emily. So I want to start this off by saying I named my channel The Inspired Damsel so I can inspire you with everything, any type of content I could think of, whether it's a DIY or a home decor video or a sit down talk video. That's what I want to be able to do, and so that's what I'm doing today. I'm sitting down and talking on Rare Disease Day, a day for people like me. This is kind of a hard topic for me. Have you ever heard the song Strangers Like Me from Tarzan? That's me. I look like you, but I know there's something different. A big something. A disease that you don't have. I was born with Ehlers-Danlos and I have the hypermobility type. Type 3. Whatever you want to call it anyway. Whatever you call it anymore. EDS is a connective tissue disorder that affects every part of my body, but especially things like my joints and ligaments and my circumstance, making me overly flexible. I'm talking about me being 18 and almost being out of gymnastics for 10 years, and being able to go into a split, barely not touching the ground. I'm talking like 2 inches, I think that's 2 inches, away from the ground without stretching at all. That just sounds cool, right? I can bend my thumb completely backwards and touch my wrist. I can turn my ankles like this with my knees still straight, which is really weird and actually one of the tests for hypermobility. And other things, and though it sounds fun, it's not. It's very painful. I grew up playing sports and started having massive pain when I was only 7 because I couldn't stop spraining my ankles. I shouldn't have had that pain at such a young age, and though I was doing dance, gymnastics, and softball all at the same time, it shouldn't have been going like that because my siblings had played sports, many sports at the same time too, and it never happened to them. Eventually the pain got so unbearable that I had to quit gymnastics when I was about 9. And that's when the doctor visits started. They called it growing pains, sympathy pains, since my sister got hurt a lot. But it never went away. It got to the point where my ankles would turn purple from bruising and I could barely walk going into middle school. And all throughout middle school. I have a very high pain tolerance and I would cry all night long because the pain was so horrible. The simple touches and movements of touching my skin hurt like crazy. So we went forward with research. Went to the orthopedist, found no answers. Blood tests started. I stopped dance when I was in 6th grade and started volleyball as everything got a bit more serious, as it became obvious something seriously was wrong with me. Slowly the pain started going from my ankles to my knees and into my hips. I stopped softball in 7th grade to focus on volleyball in hopes that doing one sport would help things. They thought it was juvenile arthritis. So I went to a doctor for that with no answers the first visit or 2. By this point, I had already done physical therapy for my ankles and knees and shoulders, and I was losing hope. Eventually, they sent me in for an ankle and knee MRI. My first MRI, which now, 6-ish years later, I've had probably about 10 MRIs, which is kind of ridiculous. I had 4 last year alone. They discovered I was banging bone against bone. The next visit, I was diagnosed with hypermobility right before I started 8th grade volleyball. I went into that volleyball season with an answer, ankle braces, and a lot of pain meds. I was diagnosed with hypermobility, and because of me being bone against bone, this doctor came in and was I saw somebody who wasn't my typical doctor, but it was okay because she got really excited when she saw my MRI and she's like, I think I know what you have. I think I might know. And so she went to go to the MRI techs because they have to confirm things, of course. And she came back so excited because she finally had an answer for me after visits for the past year. I was diagnosed with hypermobility. not quite the EDS part yet, because that was diagnosed later on. That was kind of almost more of a self-diagnosis that we figured out that I actually had EDS as well. But now when I go to the doctors, they do check me. They have checked me for that, and I do have it. So it's more than just, you know, super flexible or double jointed or whatever. So I went into that fall was the first time I dislocated my shoulder. I slid into somebody's knee. My arm went backwards and dislocated, and I walked around for about 30 minutes after the game like this. And of course, me being me, I kept playing, and my friend literally had to take me to my mom and be like, your daughter's arm is messed up. And I actually popped my shoulder back in place myself within an hour. And I did something that I learned off of dance moms. Don't do that. Don't do that. Even though I now know how to pop my shoulder back in place, just go to a doctor. I went to the doctor the very next day, and we discovered that I had separated my collarbone. Because of my ligaments already, you can see right here that this is my collarbone. It's a very exposed collarbone, and it goes like this. And right here, it shouldn't be like that. On this side, it's not as bad, but yeah. So on my right side, my collarbone is separated by a pinky's worth, and on my left side, it's by this much, which is insane. Like that's like an inch. That's it. So I played another season that spring, and my knee started hurting really bad, and I found out I had tendonitis in both knees. My right knee worse than my left knee. Freshman year comes along, and there were so many issues that season, and there was a lot of issues off the court, more so than me actually getting injured, except for the fact that my shoulder wouldn't stay in place now. And that's just a big pain in the butt, especially for me. I was a setter, and so you have to have your shoulders to set, and so it wasn't great. And then my knee actually dislocated that season while I was doing karaoke, grapevine, whatever you want to call it. It dislocated in the back of my knee, and my sister had to pop it back in place. So I took a break that spring just to recollect myself after the drama the season before, and then I couldn't play my sophomore year. I had a major concussion. I hit my head right here on my windowsill leaning backwards, and it was a very severe concussion. I hit it twice, I believe. I don't even remember. Like, I still have memory loss from it. It's been almost 4 years, and I still suffer from memory loss and headaches and everything from it. I had headaches for like 4 months straight, I think. And so I wasn't allowed to play because it was that bad. And I got it in June, the week before my birthday. Volleyball didn't start till like August, and I was just like completely off somewhere else because it was so bad. And basically the concussion started things, and everything escalated. I almost broke my wrist punching a wall, had my hips slip out of place falling off our couch, and other things. Then my life changed forever. I had just turned 16 and was getting ready for my junior year season to start. I was practicing outside when I heard a pop and felt severe pain shoot through my right shoulder, the one I had not dislocated, my good shoulder. At this point, dislocating wasn't a big deal, except for the fact that this one hadn't dislocated before, and I couldn't feel my arm. My bone had went forward and hit a bundle of nerves, and I lost feeling in my arm. I still cannot feel everything in my shoulder. It's going to have been 3 years this year, and it's still not all there. The feeling is still not all there. We started the process of finding out if I was going to have surgery, because immediately we thought it was a labor and tear. I just remember screaming in pain when it happened and crying myself to sleep. And like I said earlier, I have a really high pain tolerance. that pain, it felt like I had gotten shot in the shoulder, and it was the worst pain still I think I've ever felt in my life. Even more painful than dislocating a hip. We started the process of finding out if I was going to have surgery, which meant multiple ortho visits, x-rays, MRIs, everything. And I was told I couldn't play sports anymore. My entire life felt like it ended that day. I couldn't play anymore. Not because I had torn something, because as far as we still know now that I maybe only did a micro tear. I had to stop to prevent myself from hurting it even more, which for me was devastating because I wanted to go to college. I wanted to play volleyball in college. Heck, I wanted to go in the Olympics. I mean, I wrote about that in on my personal blog and stuff, and it's just, it was horrible. My body couldn't take it anymore. My orthopedist and my pediatrician, who both worked with me, kept telling me, you know, just keep going. They wanted me to stick with it for as long as possible, even though we all knew there was going to come a time when I would have to stop. We just didn't know it would be when I was only 16. All the physical therapy, all the hard work, looking forward to playing in college, it'd been for nothing. I was lost, I still am, and it'll be 3 years this summer. Between now and then, I've broken my rib, leaving it dislocated pretty often. I went to my junior prom with my rib completely dislocated after having broken it. I dislocated every single finger and just all around struggled. Knees hurt, ankles hurt, it's not fun. Last year around this time, I started having knee pain again. I ended up having 2 partially torn ligaments in my right knee and had to have surgery. Yeah, little did I know the next month I would be having knee surgery 4 days after my 18th birthday. That was the first thing I signed for as an adult. 4 months later, I had to have shoulder surgery in my right shoulder. Sometime within the 2 years, I had torn my labrum. The only thing I know is that when I went to go pick up my cat from the end of my bed, and I just felt this sharp pain again, and I was screaming and crying, and I couldn't feel my arm again. And so the process started all over again, finding out if I was going to have surgery, and I ended up having surgery in October. And so I am just now finishing recovery for that, actually. This Friday, I go in for surgery for my left shoulder. After dislocating it for over 5 years, I wake up too much with it dislocated, and I've had pain in it for so long. We just want to try and see if this will help. I will have had 3 surgeries within 9 months this Friday. Because of all the surgeries the last 9 months, I haven't been able to start college or anything that I wanted to do. I'm not telling you this to make you pity me. I'm telling you this to inform you about a disease you probably have no idea about and how it can affect somebody. Though I have come to terms with having this and learning that God has a purpose for not healing me from it, I still have hard days. I can't go to sporting events often. I have to sit out on a lot of things. I would give anything right now just to be able to work out, just to be able to bowl. But I know there's a reason behind me going through this. There's a reason behind everything. I don't suffer from this because I didn't pray enough or because I did anything. I just have it. We're imperfect people. With that being said, one of the biggest problems I've ever had with EDS is being harassed because I'm always injured when there's nothing I can do about it. I've been called a klutz a million times, unstable, and a bunch of other things that people should never say to people. Even if you're joking, I don't want to hear it. So instead of making fun of somebody when they're hurt, ask them why they hurt. Maybe they're suffering from something. Maybe they can't help that their shoulder gets dislocated. Maybe they can't help anything. You know, maybe they're in physical therapy to strengthen something. Maybe they're like me. But I do ask people, please do not compare your pain to theirs if they have something. You're not going to understand. You won't understand the pain of not being able to get up in the mornings, or the pain of being active. But also, don't tell them they can't do something. I've heard more times that I can't do something by people that aren't even doctors than, yeah, Emily, you can do that. Do that, Emily. Even though my doctors always tell me to go for it because I know what I can handle. And though I'm suffering right now, it's not going to last forever. I have a rare disease, but once I get through this hurdle in my life, though, I'll still have this rare disease. But I'll be a stronger person because I'm fighting and embracing it instead of lying down and letting it run all over me. I'm doing YouTube and speaking out on this because I feel led to. I feel like people need to learn about this, and people need to know it from somebody who experiences this. So though I cannot always get up in the mornings, and sometimes the pain is even too bearable just to go to physical therapy, I will get through this. I will go through my adult life like a normal person. I will go to college. I will do everything I want to do. It just takes time, and it takes patience. And it would be nice to have people willing to help me and willing to be nicer. I don't want your pity. I never will. I don't know anybody who does. But that doesn't mean you can't be concerned about me. I'm having surgery this Friday, and not a single person has messaged me because it's all, Emily got hurt again, and that's, I think, tougher to deal with than the disease. So, with that being said, this is my story. This is who I am. This is one of the many things I suffer from. I hope this maybe got you to understand something that you've never heard of. And maybe you'll want to research it. Maybe you know somebody with it. Maybe they need to see this video to feel better. I hope in some way this helped you. I hope in some way this inspired you, because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to inspire people and help people. So, with that being said, goodbye. I will see you after I have shoulder surgery. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and if you want more videos like this, please do tell me. I have lots and lots of life experience at only 18 years old, and I am willing to share it with you. So just let me know. Bye, you guys.